So yeah, go ahead and write everything you know or you think you know about the executive branch. So this includes like requirements, term limits, terms, cabinet members, what cabinet members do. And then once you're done, you can hit that enter button at the bottom right. So I'll give you guys like a minute more. All right. So I'm gonna share a couple of them on here. You guys can sort of talk about what you wrote here. So Matt, go ahead.
Oh, mine's just on screen. Okay, so I put that there are 2 4-year terms. I know that the president can serve like up to 10 years. If he gets just like starts into office because like the last president died or got like kicked out or whatever.
Okay.
He's the commander in chief of the military and he selects his cabinet and all that stuff.
Good. Good. All right, Jerome.
Yeah, I said that length of terms are 4 years, but can be 8 if reelected.
Mm-hmm.
That the president is the highest power.
Both correct. Right, so sort of the executive branch requirements. So you have to be a native-born citizen, which means you have to be born in the United States, or actually you can be born on like a military base that is also technically part of the United States. So even if you were born on a United States military base outside of the United States, it still works. You also need to be 35 years old, although it's relatively uncommon, or it's never actually happened that a president's been 35 years old. Typically, it's like 50s, 60s, up in that area. And yeah, you have to actually reside in the United States for 14 years. So if you were born in the United States and you would move to another country or something, you have to have had lived here for 14 years. So yeah, as Matt talked about and Jerome also talked about, there are 2 term limits, and this was actually set by the 22nd Amendment. Does anybody know who served 3 terms actually? FDR did. Or he died halfway through his 3rd term, actually. So yeah, this was set by the 22nd Amendment. And so as we talked about, Jerome and Matt both pointed out, each term is 4 years, so that means an 8-year presidency if reelected. So now I'm going to talk about sort of the branch powers and the responsibilities that the executive branch has. So the way that the executive branch checks the other 2 branches is they're able to veto bills from Congress. So if Congress sends the president a bill, it gets 50% vote. The president is able to veto that bill, and it goes back to Congress, and they have to vote on it again. And then the way the executive branch checks the judicial branch is they're actually in charge of appointing the federal judges. So right now, Donald Trump is appointing a federal judge, and that goes into a vote in Congress. The main power that the executive branch has is they're able to sign executive orders, and these are basically bills that go into law essentially immediately. They have to be checked by the courts, but so yeah, Actually, Donald Trump's travel ban was actually ruled unconstitutional by the court, so that executive order didn't pass and go into effect. The second thing that they're able to do, that's sort of one of the powers that the president has, is they're able to propose bills into Congress. So this is the most recent example of that is Trump's repeal and replace, and that actually was unsuccessful as well. And then the sort of responsibility of the president is they're supposed to have a State of the Union address where they go and they sort of lay out what they want to do for the next upcoming year. They talk about the previous year, what went well, what they want to improve on. And this sort of shifts public opinion. So it's able to influence public opinion and maybe persuade other people to support his agenda. They're also the commander in chief that Matt also pointed out. So they actually delegate troops. Congress decides whether we go to war or not, but the president is the one who sends out troops, and it's the commander in chief who decides all of war policies, basically. And another big responsibility of the executive branch is the chief diplomat. So this means that they go out to other countries and they sort of figure out how the relationship between these two countries is going to be. So yeah, Donald Trump has recently met with the president of Canada, Germany. And he goes and talks foreign politics and world politics with these people. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and answer which of the following is the way the executive branch checks one of the other two branches.
Can you advance yours?
All right. So we got some varying answers here. The correct answer is overriding, or not overriding veto, sorry, appointing federal judges. So this is like what we talked about, where the president is able to appoint federal judges, and this is sort of a way to check the judicial branch. Overriding vetoes would be Congress, because when a law is vetoed, it goes back to Congress, and then they have to go on a vote again with it. And then ruling a bill unconstitutional would be the judicial branch. So those two are incorrect, and C is the correct answer. So another responsibility of the president is he chooses cabinet members who head the varying departments of the executive branch, and there are 15 varying departments, and they sort of deal with different things. So an example would be the Department of Education. Betsy DeVos is the Department of Education Secretary. So she sort of advises the president on matters relating to education, essentially. But so I'm gonna have you guys get into groups of 2, and you're gonna go to that DGO website right there, so you guys can copy that link. So I'm gonna put you guys into groups of 2, but go ahead and go to that link right now, so you guys can work together. You two can work together. You two can work together. Amy and Matt, you two. And what I want you guys to do is you're going to be responsible for discovering what 3 of those various departments is sort of responsible for, and then you guys are going to share what your departments do. So why don't you guys do the first 3 on that website? Second, third, so on. Were you able to get there? So go to the new pod. And then just stay on the first one. There you go. So you guys are going to take off that. So click on that first link at it says U.S. Government Executive Branch. So go ahead and click on that first link. So click on that. Right there. So you got two. So you,
Yeah.
you guys are these two right here. So you guys can put your results together. So you scroll down.
Well, you didn't get all of it last time.
Sorry. I think so you guys are six, so they had those first, so you guys. So look at the US. And then scroll down.
I don't know if this is right.
Treasury is just like all about handling the money.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is right.
Yeah, we're not.
Huh?
Yeah.
What page is it on?
You guys are.
Huh?
My dad used to work for the Department of Agriculture. Like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5, 10.
Okay.
5.
What are you doing?
You guys get there.
I don't know.
Okay, so click on the US government executive branch.
Yes. I know that he dressed me up as like a cow when I was like 1 year old because.
And then you guys are 9, 10, 11, as well, with these different cabinets. So go exit out of that, sorry. And then scroll down for you. So you guys are the last three facing.
Yeah, really.
So you guys are these three, yeah.
That's
So that's just keep
Hang out with
Oh,
and Mancha.
wait, I thought it was right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, something.
I know, you up here, you're under. You said trust.
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
Got
Yeah, for them.
we got the last one.
Think about like gosh.
Hmm?
Last time, so you're just gonna get like
Secretary of Veterans Affairs is a sub-official of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Responsibilities include providing U.S. war
We get all
veterans
the
families
thunder games.
with comprehensive benefits, including pensions, benefits, education, life insurance, rehabilitation, and burial services. Used under the U.S. Department of Veterans Administration, Veterans Benefit Administration, and National Security Administration. The Secretary
I have
of Health and Human Services is at the top of the
Secretary of
official at the Department of Health and Human Services. Permanent duties include advising the President on health conditions and different things. And also social.
Yes, you're still working.
Still
working.
So what are we supposed to?
So just get like an idea of like the responsibility, so in this one, top official in the US Department of State. Okay. Secretary of State is responsible for conducting negotiations with foreign representatives and managing United States embassies. So that's sort of like foreign policy type stuff.
All right.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to keep going just so we can.
That was good.
Very good, kids. Alright, back up here, please. Alright, you two can do the first three. So you guys can have like back and forth on the responsibilities of the first three.
So, we just have.
Yeah, what else do I need? You want to? Yeah, you saw.
I have the Secretary of Defense, and it's the top official in the U.S. Department of Defense. What it does is advising the president on military matters, formulating American defense policy, and following through with approved military policies. The Secretary of Defense and the president form a two-person national command authority.
You don't have to say that if you don't want, you can just say your care.
I have the Secretary of Education. What it does is it advises the president on educational plans, policies, and initiatives. And it helps with like African American students, blind students, deaf students also.
Represents all students, yeah. Then the third one,
I asked the Attorney General, United States Attorney General. Any offers of advice concerning domestic and international legal matters to the President, Congress, and heads with other cabinet departments. And it was like drug use, alcohol, and tobacco.
alright, so you can go next.
Okay, the Secretary of Energy basically just deals with the US Department of Energy, including managing nuclear weapons and energy programs and developing plans for conservation and stuff like that. And then the Secretary of the Interior is the Department of the Interior. It's responsible for preservation and conservation of natural resources and wildlife.
And then the Secretary of Commerce basically just deals with like national and foreign business and like economic growth and jobs. The Secretary of Labor is just distinguishing like wage and like rules and laws for employees. Secretary of Transportation just around highways and airlines, transport.
And then the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, it deals with promoting community development and like developing urban areas. And things like that.
Secretary of Homeland Security pretty much deals with domestic and international terrorism, as well as responding to natural disasters. And the Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, and pretty much just deal with all of the finances and the money.
Secretary of Agriculture is basically just like developing like the right farm policies and like promoting your agricultural trades. That means like making sure that there's no like domestic or international hunger. Basically like protecting natural resources and making sure that there are good quantities of like food in the country. Basically.
And you too, finish this up.
So the Secretary of Veteran Affairs is responsible for including and providing U.S. war veterans and their families with comprehensive benefits, including pensions, medical benefits, educational loans, life insurance, rehabilitation, and burial services.
Good.
All right, Secretary of Health and Human Services is the top official in the Department of Health and Human Services. Primary duties include advising the President on the health conditions of America, managing welfare benefit programs, and income security matters, to carry out and approve programs and to educate the public about the department's goals.
Okay, the United States Secretary of State is top official in the U.S. Department of State. The State Department is chiefly concerned with foreign affairs and relations. The Secretary of State is responsible for conducting negotiations with foreign representatives and managing the U.S. Embassies around the world. The Secretary of State is the President's chief advisor on foreign policies and politics, or politics and policies, yeah.
Good. All right. That is all. So you're ready.
Can I take this out?
Oh,
What's your name for the feedback thing?
Eric. Okay. We have to do that right.
I don't have it in this, but
In our transition.
yeah, it's in
Okay,
the.
oh, for you guys, if you can all go to the notes, there's a little thing on the notes that says feedback. If you can click that,